If I had to learn Python in 2026, knowing everything that I know right now, I would do it very differently. Not because Python has changed, but because most people waste months learning the wrong things in the wrong order. Because Python is everywhere, right? You can do backend, full stack development, go into data science, machine learning, and because of this, there are just too many Python resources online. And this is why most beginners, especially after learning the basic syntax or maybe learning object orientation in Python, like they feel lost on what they should study in order to be able to become equipped to get a job. So in this video, I'm not gonna teach you Python, but instead I'm gonna show you the exact roadmap I'd follow for the next 8 to 12 months and get from where I am right now to a full stack job ready Python developer without confusion or tutorial help. By the end of the video, you'll know exactly what to focus on and what to ignore. And by the way, I've added timestamps below, so if you are not a complete beginner, you can jump straight to the stage where you are at. Also, if you're new here, I'm Anudeep and I work as a software engineer and I have a master's in robotics and AI. And on this channel, we talk about tech, AI, entrepreneurship, and self-improvement. So if any of those things sound interesting, please consider subscribing. Enough of the cheeky plug. Let's get started. Okay, so the goal of this stage is to not become a Python developer. Like, you're not trying to know everything about Python. The goal is to become comfortable writing Python and reading other people's code written in Python, or maybe AI's code written in Python. So here's what I would focus on: core syntax and data structures. So like variables, numbers, lists, all those kinds of basic data types. And then I would go on to data structures like dictionaries, lists, sets, and tuples. And more importantly, knowing when to use each, because this particular thing actually matters. I would learn list comprehensions. You are going to use them all the time, like literally all the time. Writing functions, how to implement them, arguments, keyword arguments, lambda functions for simple operations. And after that, OOP or object-oriented programming. So classes, objects, the init method, what the self actually means in object-oriented Python, basic inheritance, composition, all that stuff. And then finally, some essential concepts like input-output handling, reading and writing files, error handling with try except, and honestly, one of the most important things is just learning how to read error messages and tracebacks. Like, that's a skill in itself. Trust me, if you master this early on, you are a rockstar. Now, here are the things that I would not focus on at this particular stage. And that is doing advanced algorithms, doing data structures, doing competitive programming or lead code or whatever. And even things like memorizing every built-in Python function, like that's not necessary. The ones which are repeating again and again in problems, you will automatically memorize them. So you don't need to spend time to memorize and use all of them before moving on. Most people will spend like 6 months mastering basic Python because they feel that they need to know everything before they move on to the next stage. You don't. Like, you really don't. Trust me. You learn all these things by building stuff. So if you are serious enough, you can get all of this done in 2 to 3 weeks. But if you want to take your own time, if you maybe have a day job or if you have school, and if you want to learn Python programming and become a Python developer in your after time, you can maybe take like 1.5 or 2 months to properly get into the flow. Please don't try to learn everything. Like, this is the most common beginner mistakes that I've seen people make. Like, these are the people who would know Python syntax inside out, but they would not know how to build anything. And then I have met some people who say that, hey, yeah, I mean, I know Python that much, little bit, whatever. And then they have like solid 4 to 5 full stack projects. That is the real deal. And so yeah, those are the basics. Master those. And I'm not mentioning all the resources in this video because then the video will become too long. I'm going to paste all the resources in a document which is attached to the video description. So feel free, grab a copy of it and use it as a checklist to learn all the items that I'm mentioning in this video. Okay, so most tutorials skip this part, and that is the problem because it is actually crucial. Like, you need to learn how professional developers actually work, not just how to write code. I mean, in this age of AI, like literally Claude or Gemini can write fantastic code for you, but still you need to understand what that code means. So you have to learn all these steps. But anyways, my point is that you need to learn the environment where the code is written. So here's a list of things that you need to learn. Number 1, virtual environments, what they are, why they matter, and how to create one with VENV, how to activate and deactivate them, and learning how to never install packages globally, like never again. Number two, package management, using pip commands, understanding and writing requirements.txt file, understanding dependencies. Like, this stuff matters when you are working on real projects. Number 3, Git and GitHub. This is useful. Like, this is just basic tech skill that you need to learn. Basic Git commands like init, add, commit, push, whatever, to be able to at least push your code from your local machine to GitHub or to any other, platform that you prefer. But use GitHub. How to write good commit messages and how to use git ignore properly. Never commit .venv or PyCache or any of that. Like your GitHub should look professional. It should be your resume that you can just show off to recruiters and hiring managers and your friends and stuff to show what you actually know. With all this comes the understanding of how to structure the repository properly so that other people can make sense of it and fast. Another big thing is code editor setup. What I use is I would use VS Code with Python extensions, but people use PyCharm because it has this good built-in environment for Python, and just having a sense of understanding why these things matter for professional programming. Most people will skip the setup part because people don't teach this, and then they'll wonder, this code works on my machine, but it breaks in production, or breaks on the cloud, or breaks on somebody else's machine. Because bro, you didn't have an environment. I have also seen people have these messy GitHub repositories which make them look unprofessional, sort of. So yeah, take care of that, guys. You are ready to move on when you can create one full project. Timeline, 1 week. That's it. This is the mode. This is where most people get stuck, because this is where Python actually becomes a marketable skill. Like, this is the stage that matters. And at this stage, I would pick one framework, either Flask or Django or FastAPI or any of those, but these are the most common and popular ones, and I would recommend you start with one of these. Don't learn all, just pick one. Here is my take. Django, if you want to have something that's battle tested, it's mature, it has the built-in admin panel, authentication all set up for you, and a ton of resources and tutorials. It is really good for, building complete end-to-end web applications. Then there's FastAPI. That is for something if you want something modern, minimal, clean, and fast. It has an API-first architecture and automatic API documentation with Swagger, which is really nice. Async support built in, and just in general, less boilerplate code to deal with. It is just cleaner. Like, as a beginner, I think FastAPI is something that you guys will enjoy. And then there is Flask. Flask is minimal, it gives you a lot of freedom, but that also means you make a lot more decisions yourself. How to structure a project, how to handle auth, how to scale the project. Personally, I would start with FastAPI if I were starting from scratch in 2026, because personally, it's very clean. It teaches you modern Python, and async features are becoming standard. But whatever framework you choose to go with, you need to learn these basic things like how HTTP works, requests and responses, status codes like 200, 500, what headers, cookies, and REST actually mean. Like, not just, oh, it's an API, but what happens under the hood? What is a RESTful API? And talking about APIs, even building them, getting endpoints for GET, put, post, delete, route parameters, query parameters, request validation, response formatting with JSON. Another very important concept is authentication that you must learn. Like, this is huge. User registration and logging, password hiding, never ever store plain passwords. Like, seriously guys, don't do that. As a beginner, that's the most common rookie mistake you'll make, but don't do that. And even database integration basics, like connecting to a database, creating models or schemas, basic CRUD operations. So in this section, or at this stage of the process, these are the things that you should not do. Do not learn all the 3 frameworks or all the frameworks that are there. Just pick one and go with it throughout till the end. Number 2, do not build 10 simple to-do applications. Instead, build one complex app. Do not skip authentication because it looks hard, because it is hard for a beginner. Remember, every single real job uses that. You absolutely need to know this. Because what I've seen is most people build these CRUD applications with no auth, no validation, no error handling, and they wonder why they can't get hired. Like, that's no mystery. Timeline for this stage, 6 to 8 weeks. Do not rush, take your time, but learn it well. Okay, so this is a point where you're not just writing Python, not just, writing basic scripts, but you're building proper actual systems, like real applications. So these are the things that you need to learn to level up. Number 1, SQL basics. Commands like select, insert, update, all these things to be able to query a database. Basic indexing concepts. Number 2, database design. How to structure tables properly. Primary keys and foreign keys. What is the concept of those? One-to-many and many-to-one relationships. And things like when to normalize your data and when to not. Like, these are the actual concepts that you can learn, but they will be solidified into your brain when you are actually building them in a project. That's why building is essential, non-skippable. Number 3, working with databases in Python. If you're using FastAPI, things like SQL Alchemy. If you're using Django, things like ORM. Like, these are the tools for writing queries, database migration, which is how you update the schema safely in production. You also need to learn API best practices, like RESTful API design principles, proper status codes, and not just returning 200 or whatever every time, and error messages that actually help developers understand what went wrong rather than just printing out a whatever print statement. Things like input validation, because that is something that you can't trust users with, and sanitation, rate limiting basics, API documentation, all these things, right? Like, all these things are the things that are going to level you as a software developer in your journey to get your first full-time job. And then finally, testing your code. Why testing matters in the first place, and then writing your test with frameworks like PyTest or whatever. Testing API endpoints. Mocking database for tests. Remember, at this point, you don't need 100% test coverage, but you do need some coverage. And trust me, most tutorials will completely skip this testing part because it's not a part of a software developer to test things per se. But having said that, having unit tests and doing some sanity testing and having some sort of testing mechanism in your software development workflow significantly enhances the quality of your app or software that you're building. Common mistakes to avoid at this stage: using just one giant table for every piece of information that you contain in your app. That is just a big red flag. Number 2, skipping error handling. Like, if you don't have error handling in your code, I'm gonna assume you are a proper noob. Literally. No input validation. Again, trusting whatever the user says is true or correct. I mean, that is again a red flag. Like, I've seen APIs where if you just send the wrong message, it just returns 500 with no message. And I'm like, how is anyone supposed to use that? But yeah, these are the sorts of things that you need to learn at this stage and the things that you should avoid. Timeline for this: not more than a month. So this stage matters more than all the other previous stages combined. Like, genuinely, this is the most important. Most people think that they are ready at this point, but they are not. People think that, they know all the concepts, they have applied the concepts, in their pieces of code. But if all of those concepts are not talking among each other, if it's not one unified system, if it's not one full stack complex application that you have built, don't call yourself a software engineer. Big projects are what makes you job ready. Okay, let me be specific here because build project is such a broad term. Your project needs these things. Number 1, user authentication. Number 2, at least 3 to 4 different databases, not one unified database. Number 3, authorization, input validation, error handling, at least 10 to 15 different API endpoints. Show through your project on your GitHub that you can make something complex. Like, at this point, you don't even have to write all of this by yourself. Tools like Cloud Code or Codex can help you do that. But again, you need to understand what the output is. Testing is again an important aspect. Like, basic testing of the application has to be present. And all of this deployed and live, accessible by a URL, not just localhost 300 or whatever. I should be able to click a link and use your app. That level of professionalism. A professional readme is a must. Like, what are your setup instructions? What is your app about? How to use it? And this is the difference between a tutorial project that you will be making as you learn these different concepts and a professional project that is sort of your show off token for all the things that you learned in all the other previous stages. Like, this is the stuff that separates people who get interviews and who don't. And as I mentioned, you should make some complex big projects. So these are some of the options that you can use, but again, feel free to implement your own stuff. Option 1, expense tracker, full stack. User can create accounts, add expenses with categories, dates and amounts, filter and search their expenses, view their spending by category with maybe some simple charts and stuff, set monthly budget alerts, and also export all of this data into a CSV file. Like, this is just one of the examples that you can think of. Option number 2, a complex task management system, not a simple to-do list app again. Like, this has to be API focused. User authentication roles like admin and regular users. Create projects with multiple tasks which has due dates, assignees, and different priorities and status tracking. Being able to comment on each task, sending email notifications for the tasks, setting deadlines, being able to search all the tasks, all of this. Option number 3, recipe sharing platform. Community focused. Users can post recipes with ingredients, image upload for recipes, rating and review system, search by ingredients, save favorite recipes, and even user profile showing their recipes. Like, all of this. Like, this is just an idea, right? Like, you can just ask ChatGPT to give you hundreds, if not thousands of different ideas that you want to build for your application. Just pick one of these or one of those and go deep down. Like, don't just build 3 shallow projects. build one solid project which will help you showcase your skills. And after you have done all that, and this is the stage where most people stop, deploy that project. Deploy with hard-coded secrets. Like never commit the environment files to GitHub, and also never hardcode API keys. Another common mistake that people make is that they don't test things in production. Like you ship it to production and then use your app, see if everything works fine. Leaving debug mode in production, like turn that off. Another common mistake is not handling file uploads properly. This breaks most of the people's apps. And the reality check is this: if you cannot explain your project properly to somebody who's very new to this, like here's what it does, here's how I built it, these were the challenges, this is how I overcame those challenges. Like if you cannot explain all this, you don't understand it well enough. Timeline for this: 10 to 12 weeks for one solid project. Do not rush this. Like seriously, this is the stage that gets you hired. And the thing is, building projects is a skill in itself. Like knowing how to learn efficiently, knowing how to debug when you're stuck, how to figure things out. These are actual skills. Like this is what separates you from a vibe coder to a full stack coder, or whatever you want to call it, like a professional coder. And if you want to level up on that, I've actually made a video where I break down the mental models that I use to learn new things faster. So you can see that video there. It'll honestly help you move through this roadmap faster. So there you go, guys. This is your complete no BS roadmap for becoming a Python developer, becoming a full stack software engineer, going from zero to job ready just using Python. And if you have already done all the things that I've mentioned here, refresh your resume, start applying to jobs and reaching out to people. If you found this helpful, do hit like and subscribe, and comment down below which stage of the process you are in. Or if you have already gone through this journey, would you like to add something else? I'd be curious. Having said that, thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.